add one or two things. While I was seated, the Lord began to put some burdens in my spirit, and I want to talk to us about it in a few minutes. The mystery of closed doors. I remember on Sunday when I began on this series, I told us that God opens and God closes doors. The mystery of closed doors. I also want you to understand that, just an emphasis, that I told us that for every door God opens, Satan wants to close. And for every door God closes, Satan wants to open. And we saw that in 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 18. The Bible said, Apostle Paul was talking to the Thessalonians. He said, "Many times I have attempted to come unto you, but he says Satan has hindered me." And in 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 9, he said, "Great and effectual doors are open unto me, but there are many adversaries." So anytime you notice enemies around you, is a sign that a door has been opened unto you. In fact, one of the dictators that a door of God has been opened unto you is that Satan will come around. Satan has no business with a man whom God, or who doesn't have an open door. Satan doesn't have a business with such a person. But when he discovers that as God is about to open a door for you, what he does is to come to close that door. And when he discovers that God has closed the door against you, and you know that that closing of that door is for your own good, Satan wants to come and open the door. Now, shortly, I just want us to look at the mystery of closed doors. In looking at the mystery of closed doors, we want to find out the secret. Why does God close the doors of his children? Does God delight in the suffering of his children? How can God watch me suffer? How can God watch the Israelite in the captivity for approximately 430 years? Does God actually delight in the suffering of his people? Does God gain joy in my tears? Does God gain joy in my sufferings? Does God gain joy when I am depressed? Does God gain joy when I'm in captivity? Does God gain joy when I'm being mocked? Why does God deliberately close door? Because we have discovered in our searching in this series that God actually closes door. That Satan is not the only one that closes door. And if you doubt this, in 1 Samuel chapter 1 verse 6, the Bible says God shut the womb of Hannah. So many things we say that Satan did, God actually did it. So we want to unravel the mystery of this closed door. Why does God closes the door of man? In Genesis chapter 7 from verse 16, after God has instructed Noah to build an ark. In fact, in my own opinion, I don't think that Noah knew what God was up to. He didn't know actually the danger that was to come, the gravity. Maybe he had an idea of it, but didn't know the gravity of the anger of God. And God sent him on an errand. He said, "Start building me an ark." Gave him the design and how he's going to make the ark to be. And God actually also instructed him that he should make sure in that ark there are doors, because of the danger that was to come. And the Bible emphatically stated that when all the animals and all of them entered into the ark, it was not Noah that shut the door. The Bible said God intentionally shut the door. The question is, why did God shut the door? Why did God shut the door of the ark? You will find out that the next verse, that immediately the door was shut, there was a great rainfall, a great flood. So the reason why God shut the door of the ark was to protect them from his wrath, was to protect from danger. So sometimes God can deliberately shut your door. The reason why he's doing that is that he's protecting you from the aim of the enemy. He's protecting you from the danger that is to come. He's protecting you from the judgment to come. He will deliberately shut the door. When God visited the Egyptians, especially the first sons of the Egypt, and wanted to cause harm in the land, the instruction God gave to the Israelite was, go behind your room and shut the door and make sure there is the blood on your doorpost, that whenever I see the mark, I shall pass over. Imagine if they were not shut, that door was not shut. The consequences is that all of them will perish, although they are children of God, but they were going to be in destruction. The reason why many people are in destruction today, many children of the Lord perish, is because they don't understand the mystery of this closed door. So when God closed the door against them, they are fighting by every crook and nail in order for the door to open. And sometimes they can go into negotiation with the devil, and when the devil opens the door into their life, it leads to their destruction. Are you with me? They can decide to say, I'm tired of following God, I'm tired of being in God. Since I came to God, have you noticed some people that made this utterance, since I started serving God, things grew worse for me. You know, serving God, things became worse. My life is upside down. It's as if that my windows of heaven has been shut. It's as if nothing good is working for me anymore. My friends who were helping me and all of that have stopped helping me. Is it now a curse to serve God? Why did God intentionally shut the door against me? Many people have asked this question, but I want to deliberately tell you the mystery behind that is sometimes when God shuts a door against you, He's protecting you from His anger. He's protecting you for judgment to come, and He's also protecting you from the wickedness of the enemy, and to preserve us from the danger of the enemy. An illustration of that is one story that happened many years ago. I don't know how true this story is, but I heard it from a reliable source. How that a man of God orchestrated a crusade, and when he orchestrated that crusade, he spent so much money in that crusade and gathered prayer warriors and all of that, and they prayed for the success of that crusade. And the day of the crusade, as the man was about to mount the podium, it began to rain, to a point that the rain scattered everything. In fact, the speaker got burnt, everything, and the man gave up and said, God is not a good God. How can you watch me suffer all the things I suffered, spent all the money I spent, and yet the crusade day you allowed the rain to fall after our prayers? Do you delight in the suffering and in the dissipation of the energies of your children in serving you? Why didn't you do something against the rain? The man got tired and gave up. Only for a week later, on his way going somewhere, he met the man. The man ran after him, knelt down before him, and said, you serve a living God. What do you mean? He said, I'm one of the higher assassins that was paid by a particular person to come and kill you on the day of the crusade. I was on a particular place with my men. We are targeting you to shoot you, planning that when you mount the podium, we're going to put. But I immediately mount the podium or pulpit, it began to rain, and that rain made us not to see you to shoot. We couldn't see because the rain distracted us. And he said that act alone is an intervention of the power or the sovereignty of God, and based on that fact, I have come to acknowledge in your life. Can you lead me to Christ? But you see, the man had already given up. He didn't know that the reason why that disappointment happened was for his own protection. I used to say this, that not all disappointment are orchestrated by the devil. Not all disappointment. Some disappointment is a blessing, so that you don't die untimely. God knows more than us. He has seen the end from the beginning. He knows what Satan is planning for your life. He knows that marriage might end your life. He sees Satan has orchestrated it. So God can deliberately make sure that you don't marry early. God can deliberately make sure you don't have money on time. He's God all by himself, and we cannot question him. So any condition we find ourselves, we should give him glory. It was Apostle Paul that said that we should rejoice, knowing that the current suffering is not to destroy us, but to lead to our glory. Number 2 is to increase our value. Most of us have lost value. The reason why we have lost value or potency or ability to dispense the power and the energies of God is that we are too available. We are not scarce. the way to have value or increase in value is what we call scarcity. Scarcity increases value. Sometimes God will shut door against you because God doesn't want you to be everywhere at every time. That is what we call the season of preparation, the season of hiding. God will make sure nobody is seeing you. You are talking, nobody is hearing you. You are doing business, nobody is seeing your business. You are putting on effort to make sure that people see what you are doing, but yet nobody sees you. Even Jesus was a victim of that reality. 20 years he preached, 25 he preached, 28 he preached, 29 he preached. Nobody heard him. But at 30, that was when the door of his life opened. There are so many of you have struggled and struggled. You're asking yourself, why have I struggled? I'm doing my best, but nobody is seeing what I'm doing. It also happened in the life of David. David killed the bear, nobody clapped for him. Killed the lion, nobody clapped for him. The door, nobody was seeing what he was doing. There are some certain preachers now that are coming out, and you are hearing their voices everywhere. You are asking, where have these people been before? They have always been, and that's in they are preaching now. It's not that they had a new revelation. They have been preaching that thing long time ago. But what happened is that God shot them at that time. Nobody was. You can see the message and pass. It doesn't do anything to you. The reason is because God is making them in the closest, so that when they make an utterance, it can have an impact. In Exodus chapter 34 verse 35, the Bible said that he was on the mountain for how many days? 40 days and what? 40 nights. When he came out, what happened? His countenance was altered. His value was increased. So much so that if it was the Moses you saw previously before that time, it's not the same Moses you are seeing now. The reason is because he was cast for a season. A door of being available to the people was shut. Nobody saw him for 40 days until the time expired, and then God opened the door and said, you can go down. And when they saw him, they weren't seeing the same Moses they saw before. The Bible said in Luke chapter 9 verse 29 that Jesus prayed. As Jesus prayed, the fashion of his countenance was altered. That has been the life of Jesus, hiding in the secret place. In Mark 1:35, the Bible said, while it was a day, great while before a day, Jesus will go to his solitary place, and the Bible said there he prayed, where nobody is seeing him. So sometimes increase in value is based on our scarcity. So sometimes nobody is seeing you. You are making an attempt, you know you are trying your best, but nobody is seeing what you are doing. Don't question God at that instance. Compare yourself with anybody. Just understand that God is making a value out of your life. If the reason why gold is more expensive than water is because gold is scarce. You can't get gold anywhere. Is it not true? So the reason why gold is expensive is because it is very scarce. But any day water becomes scarce, the price or the value of water will increase. So when God is a system God uses, when God wants to increase your value, he shuts some doors against you because he wants you to increase in value. He doesn't want you to be a local champion. He wants you to be an international, intercontinental champion. It's that reason God shut door against men or against his children is for them to locate the right door. Like I said, devil, when he sees that God has plans for you, when you see the miniature of the plan of God concerning your life by a peep from distance, what it does is that he will begin to open a similar door that looks like that door. For every way of God, there is a contrary way of Satan for you. For every plan of God, there is a contrary plan of the devil for you. For everything God does, Satan wants to copy. That's what the Bible says in Proverbs chapter 14 verse 12. There is a way that seemeth right. Jesus is the way, and that way is rightful way. But God is, the Bible telling us there is a way that also seemeth right unto a man. But that kind of way, the end thereof is destruction. And the Bible also says in Matthew chapter 7, from verse 13 downward, it says, go in, get ye through the narrow way. For wide is the way to destruction, and many follow through it because they are not discerning. So sometimes God shut door against your life. The reason why he's shutting that door is because he doesn't want you to go through the way of destruction. Because he knows that Satan has other similar ways for you. He will open deliberately some doors for your destruction. But what God will do is that he will keep causing disappointment. He knows you're lost. And he knows that Satan designs a weapon according to your lust. The Bible says every man are destroyed by their own lust. Every man are drawn and destroyed by their own lust. So what God does, if he loves you, he knows that that thing you are desiring is not good for you. And Satan has designed a weapon that looks good for you, that seems good for you, in order to destroy you. So let's assume that you love this particular man. This is a man you want to marry. This is a man to settle your life with. This is a man you want to be with. God knows that that door of marriage will destroy you. So you cause that man to disappoint you, because that is an agent of the devil. Has opened. Devil knows you are desperate to marry now. So he knows you are desperate to marry. So he has packaged a man that he has seen that your heart pants for. So he knows that the essence of the packaging of that man is to cost or to bring about the ministry of death. To bring about the ministry of death to your life. So he deliberately cause a disappointment. And Satan will not stop. He will bring another person. God will cause disappointment. He will bring another person. God will cause a disappointment. He will bring another person. So when you experience, you say, disappointment. You don't know the reason why God is showing that reality in your life is because he doesn't want you to end up dead. He's closing those doors for you so that he can locate the right person. So how do you know the right person? You know the right person when you have met the wrong person. Are you with me? You cannot know what is right until you know the wrong. Because for you to be a God, you must know good and evil. It is when you know evil, you can also know good. Am I making sense here? So the Bible now recorded that there is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof is destruction. So sometimes God will package something for you. He has a plan for you, but you know Satan also has a plan for you. So he cause disappointment to happen in all ramification, so that you don't amount into the door Satan is opening for you, so that you can locate his plan for your life, his will for your life. If you are with me, say amen. Remember the story of Anna. Penina was having children, but God deliberately shut the womb of Hannah in 1 Samuel chapter 1 verse 6. Shut the womb of Hannah. The reason why God shut the womb of Hannah is because God has seen ahead of time that the sons of Eli will betray him. And normally priesthood are to transcend from Eli to his descendant, to his children. But when Eli's children sinned against God, the priesthood was to be wiped away totally from the lineage of Eli. So God needed somebody to replace Eli. So God had to look for Hannah, shut her womb. The reason why God shut her womb is because God needed her seed to replace Eli. Are you seeing that now? So the reason why that disappointment happened was because God wanted her to locate a right door, which is Eli, that will now open the door for her. So when she met the man called Eli, Eli began to tutor her and mature her. It was when she came to the point of maturity that she now said, God, take my womb. And her womb now opened. And God now brought that son called Samuel, that now replaced Eli in priesthood. So God called that disappointment of delay or shutting of her womb to happen, or close that door of her life, because he wanted her to locate the right person. Are you getting the point now? Did that make sense to us? Yes. So the reason why God shut door sometimes is because he wants us to locate the right door. So you go here, God shut this door. You turn here, God shut this door. You turn here, God shut this door. You turn here, God shut the door. It's not reflection, but to redirect you. Sometimes if you cannot hear directions of God for your life, God can use your situation to push you to the right direction. He can cause manipulate some certain element of life in order to fine-tune you to the right direction of your life. I give you this story. I give you this other story to prove to you that not all disappointment is bad. Some disappointment are for your greatness, and for you to align quickly to the will of God. You remember Jacob, right? You remember the prophecy in the life of Jacob. The prophecy was what? That 12 tribes of Israel were going to come from Jacob. Yes or yes? Yes or yes? But those 12 tribes of Israel, which was going to come from Jacob, are going to come from a womb of a woman. Is it not true? But who Jacob was after was who? Rachel. Is it not true? But the person who was carrying the prophecy was not Rachel. The person carrying the prophecy was Leah. So God actually manipulated the force of life and caused manipulated the force of life and caused Laban to exchange Leah for Rachel in the night after he had served for 7 years. Is it not true? So he went home and discovered that, Leah, this is not whom I served for. Why did you not give me Leah? He got angry. That disappointment was orchestrated by God because the person carrying the prophecy was who? Leah. So you see, him, he's disappointed. Oh, after I've served for 7 years, but it is working for his good. The Bible says, all things work it out for good to those that love him and are called according to his name. All things. That means both good and evil are part of the all. They work for your good. He now finally married Rachel after 7 years. He married 2 ladies. Is it not true? To prove to you that Rachel was not even destined to give birth. When she gave birth to the Benjamin, the Bible says she died. Why did she die? Because in her destiny, it was not given to her. It depended on how produced those children you see that Jacob had was who? Leah. Are you getting the point now? So you see that some disappointment are blessing in disguise. Are you with me? The reason why God closes the door against his children is to mature his children. Is to mature his children. Sometimes the reason why God will keep you in a closet for a long time is for your maturity. The Bible said in Romans chapter 8 verse 30, it said, those he predestinate, he calleth. Those he calleth, he justify. And those he justify, he said he glorify. So God has a predestination for us. There is a plan God has for you. There is a plan God has for me. The Bible says, eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, neither had it been inscribed in the heart of man what God has prepared. So God has a preparation, and it is not given for men to understand. It's not given for spirit to understand. So that preparation God is preparing for you, he has already made it available. But God will need to prepare you what he has prepared for you. And the way God does that preparation is that he will shut all doors against your life so that you can mature. And in that maturity is to amplify himself in your heart. That maturity is to inculcate his knowledge in your life. That maturity is to put you in the right way that you should follow. That maturity is to bring you and make you to be acquaintance with him. God wants you to mature so that at an appointed time of your manifestation, you won't be destroyed by the blessing that is to come. Because every blessing of the Lord is exceeding and is abundant. So the blessing of the Lord can be destructive to a man when the man have not sustained enough capacity. So what God will do is that he will shut doors against you so that he can increase in capacity, so that when the blessing will come, it will not overdrain you, it will not destroy you. Remember the man in 2 Kings chapter 4 from verse 1 to 4 about the woman whom Elijah met, whose husband died borrowing. He was a creditor, and he said, my children are about to be exchanged as a credit to our creditor. And the Bible recorded that Elijah came to intervene, and he said, woman, the only way I can intervene is that you go and get a vessel. What do you have in here? I said, I have a vessel. He said, go and borrow more vessels. I said, when you borrow the vessels, take the oil in your house, lock the door, and begin to pour the oil. Why will he lock the door against the vessel? Because before the blessing can overstretch itself, there has to be a closed door. Because if there are no capacity building within that conclave of closed door, if you come out, you'll be destroyed. Even the Bible says in Galatians chapter 1 from verse 4, it said that the heir, although he is a child, different not from a servant, though he be the Lord of all, he was subjected to teachers and tutors until the appointed time of the Father. So sometimes God will deliberately orchestrate some certain deformities of your life just because he is preparing you. He is maturing you for a better tomorrow. And lastly, I will say this. The Bible says nature teaches us some of these spiritual realities. Every pregnant woman has an appointed day called the 9th month. Is it not true? Is it not? So question is, why can't the pregnant woman give birth at 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months? Why will it be approximately at 9 months? The reason is because of maturity. So the door of his or her entrance into the earth is shut until the point of maturity. Because if that child comes out at 1 month, 2 months, he will not survive it. He will not survive the temperature of the earth. He will not survive the heat of this fallen state. Am I communicating here? So God will need to allow that child to be matured for the period of 9 months before the door of the earth can be opened unto the child into the earth. Hallelujah. So sometimes God will deliberately lock a door against you. The reason for that is because he wants to mature you. So I want us to bow